Leonard Bernstein, educator, composer, conductor. Leonard Bernstein was actually born Louis Bernstein in Lawrence, Massachusetts. His grandmother insisted that his name was to be Louis, but his parents called him Leonard. He legally changed his name to Leonard after his grandmother's death when he was 15. Leonard's father owned a bookstore in Brooklyn, New York, and wanted him to take over the bookstore rather than go into music. However, when his family inherited a piano, there was no doubting that Leonard was going to be a great musician. As the years went by and he became more skilled and his family became more supportive, after his graduation from high school, they allowed him to attend Harvard Music School. Bernstein had many influences throughout his life. The first one to play a major role was his professor at Harvard, David Prohl. Prohl is said to have given Bernstein his multidisciplinary outlook on music, which showed through later in his career. Mark Blitzstein was the originator of conducting musical shows from the piano, which Bernstein picked up from seeing his performances. Dmitri Mitropoulos, whom he met while at Harvard, is said to have inspired Bernstein to go into conducting. While at Harvard, Bernstein attended a concert, and afterwards he went to a party. While at the party, Bernstein sat at the piano and played an Aaron Copland piece. What he didn't know was that the party was actually Copland's birthday party, and Aaron Copland was in the room while Bernstein was playing. The two met that night, and Bernstein claimed that Copland was the only real composition teacher he ever had. After graduating from Harvard, Bernstein moved to New York City and played piano with the Reviewers Comedy Troupe. He also began working for a music publishing company, transcribing scores under the name Lenny Amber. During the summer of 1940, Aaron Copland recommended Bernstein for a spot in the Boston Symphony Orchestra's prestigious summer conducting institute called Tanglewood. Upon completion of the summer program, Bernstein was granted a position as assistant conductor with the New York Philharmonic. Bernstein's conducting debut was with the New York Philharmonic in 1943. The director had become very sick at the last minute, so Bernstein had no time to prepare. This was a major performance for the Philharmonic, and it was broadcasted on television across the country. He was received very well by the nation and became very popular, even making the front page of the New York Times, which resulted in many guest conducting appearances across the country. In 1944, Bernstein premiered several of his own compositions in New York, including Jeremiah Symphony and two Broadway shows, Fancy Free and On the Town. In 1945, he became the official conductor of the New York City Orchestra, which was a smaller, less prestigious ensemble than the New York Philharmonic. After World War II, Bernstein went global and traveled overseas, conducting various orchestras around the world, as well as performing. Once Bernstein returned to America, he conducted the Boston Symphony Orchestra, which earned him a spot as conducting instructor at Tanglewood, where he first got his start. Bernstein married Chilean actress Felicia Montealegre in 1951. It is said that he did this as a move to protect his reputation, as he was being rumored to be gay. He had 3 children with Felicia to further dispel rumors. However, one of his main collaborators stated that Bernstein was a gay man who got married. He wasn't conflicted about it at all. He was just gay. There is also evidence that Bernstein had extramarital affairs with men, which his wife knew about. In 1951, Bernstein conducted the premiere of famous Symphony No. 2 by Charles Ives with the New York Philharmonic. From 1951 to 1956, he was a visiting professor at Brandeis University, where he founded a creative arts festival. In 1954, Bernstein filmed a series of music lectures to be televised on CBS. The topics included Beethoven's Fifth, jazz, conducting, musical comedy, modern music, Johann Sebastian Bach, grand opera, and many more. This omnibus series is now available in a DVD set. In 1956, Bernstein took over conducting the New York Philharmonic after the previous conductor's death. In 1957, he was named music director of the New York Philharmonic, and in 1958, he began a tenured position with the New York Philharmonic. This is an excerpt from Bernstein's Omnibus on Conducting.
And it is the conductor's job to see that the brass sings here like this. If he doesn't, it could easily sound like this. That would not be Brahms or German or Viennese music. In the same way, the conductor must be able to ask the strings to play in ways contrary to their nature. For example, to play percussively, like this. Then again, he must know how to evoke different kinds of singing sounds from the violin. There are many different kinds of singing sounds and different ways of producing them. One, for example, is using a very fast vibrato. Now, he might try using no vibrato at all. Or he might try to get a sound by using very little bow. Or using a lot of bow. Then he must decide whether he wants a pizzicato or a plucked string to be plucked with the hard tip of the finger, which will produce one kind of color, or whether he wants to produce a whole different color by using the soft, fleshy part of the finger. It would then sound like this. Then he must know how to ask for thicker or thinner woodwind sounds. He must be able to ask for a variety of shadings from the percussion section. The list is endless.
Bernstein became much more well known through a series of young people's concerts, which was a television program on music appreciation. This made him well known for music education as well as conducting. Bernstein was awarded a Grammy for records of these music lectures. As his success grew, Bernstein took the New York Philharmonic on tour in Europe, the Soviet Union, the Middle East, and South America. He recorded well-known works with the Philharmonic, including Shostakovich, Mahler, Beethoven, as well as his own works. This is a sample of Bernstein conducting the ending of Mahler's Second Symphony with the New York Philharmonic. As Bernstein's success as a conductor grew, so did his success as a composer. The following are samples of some of Bernstein's most popular compositions. In 1969, Bernstein stepped down as director of the New York Philharmonic. However, he continued to appear with the group until his death. After his retirement from New York, he did a lot of work overseas with groups in Vienna, London, Israel, France, and then back at Boston. He also took advantage of this time to compose. Bernstein's personal life took a turn for the worse once he returned from working overseas. He felt that he could no longer suppress his homosexuality, left his wife, and moved in with writer Tom Cothren. Shortly after, his wife was diagnosed with cancer, so he returned to her until her death. Shortly after her death, Tom was diagnosed with AIDS, and he also passed away. Despite this very rough patch in Bernstein's life, most of his friendships and music career were unaffected. Bernstein spent his final years making guest appearances around the country and world. He founded the Los Angeles Philharmonic Institute, which was similar to Tanglewood, but on the West Coast. He also conducted the recordings of most of his compositions and founded another music festival in Japan. In August of 1990, Bernstein conducted Beethoven's Seventh Symphony at Tanglewood, which is where he got his start. Mid-performance, he broke into a coughing fit that nearly derailed the performance. In October of that year, he announced his retirement from conducting at age 72. 5 days later, Leonard Bernstein died of pneumonia, and a tumor. He is buried in Brooklyn, New York, with a copy of Mahler's Fifth Symphony over his heart.